guys, Laura here from Gus, don't do that. Laura here from Dogs Bud.
Hello.
Say hello. Oh, yep. Today with us we have Gus again. He is a kind of rehome rescue bull terrier that's coming around. He's looking very dirty and gross at the moment. So today we are going to go over recall, okay, and how to teach a recall, and then how to progress from there, because that is kind of like the number one thing that people ask. Oh, my dog doesn't come back when he's called, or how can I get a good recall in any situation? And don't do that. So the first thing that we're actually going to touch on here is you really have to make sure you have trained it. Okay, and trained it properly with a clear meaning of what your word means. Okay, so I personally have two. So I have one that's a more formal command, and that's come. Okay, I use that when I say the word come. It means come from wherever you are to me and sit, and then you must stay in that sitting position until I give you a verbal release command. Okay, so that's quite formal. I don't use that command just randomly around the house unless I'm really concentrating and I'm going to make sure that I get that full display, that full behavior. Okay, so I want come. Come means come to me, sit, position until I verbally release you. Okay, you don't have to have a command like that. Like, it's not essential, but that is what I personally like and what I teach all of our board and trains. I also have a more relaxed recall command, and that is here. Okay, so this might be something that you guys more want, and that's probably, I will show you both and how to teach both, but the here command might be something more that is what you guys want to work on. So again, for me, here just means come from wherever you are, come into my space. All right, generally within touching distance. Okay, so that is a key part. Here 3 meters away from me. Here means into touching distance, so that if I wanted to put a lead over you, I could. Okay, I generally don't mind so much. They don't need a formal release command from it. I just want them to come into my space. Maybe I touch them and then they can walk off again, or they come into my space, I reward them, and then I might ask them something else. Okay, so do you think I've explained that clearly, Chevy?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, cool. So most issues with recall is, one, the owners have not taught it properly. Am I like standing right behind the light, and am I glowing?
No, but you could back up a little bit. You're a bit too close.
Hey, creepy. So
yeah, that's good.
So number one is that, one, you haven't taught it properly. Okay, people are inconsistent with their recall command. So say you choose one command and you've chosen the word here. I'm going to use here for the command that most people are going to use. It does not matter what word you choose. You can choose pineapples. It really doesn't matter. But the important part is, if you say your command, you must make sure that you are consistent. Every single time you say it, they must come to you. Okay? What happens with owners is that you might say it one day, watching a little bit of TV, and your dog's like looking cute, walking around. Not that it should be walking around, but you might want to call it over for a cuddle, and you might be like, "Oh, Fido, here." Don't laugh at me, Chevy. Fido. Fido, here. And Fido kind of looks at you and is like, "Oh, nah," and he kind of might walk off or half come in, and because you haven't really, you've kind of half-hearted given that command, your dog is literally in that instant just learnt that he doesn't have to listen to that command. And then you'll go down to the park and you'll be like, "Fido here, I'm going to use it again." And Fido, that time you mean it and you really want them to come. But the past 5 times in the house, you haven't followed through, you haven't expected it. but now you do. So inconsistency, not even not training it properly, and inconsistency, kind of your biggest issues with recall. And then for those of you that have laid a decent foundation, your dog is listening, it listens pretty much 90% of the time, then, but except when it's a distraction and you can see you give your recall command here, and the dog looks at you and goes, nah. Then when you get to that stage and you know your dog knows it, sorry I might be getting a bit close again, and you know your dog knows it, that's when you have to implement discipline for refusal of known commands. So again, we talk about that a lot. You've got to teach your dog first, and then only once they've known it, you've practiced in various different environments, at driveway, at your local park with no dogs, at your local park with people, at your local parking lot, I don't know, you practice it everywhere. Only then can you start to use a different technique for disobedience as such, but you've got to be confident your dog knows it. So to start off training the recall command, we're going to start off with here, which is just here into my space. Firstly, tools required, a lead. Alright, I'm going to have a slightly longer one because Gus sort of knows it, but a regular length leash is fine. But as you progress and get better, you want a longer leash. So I've just gone real budget here and clipped 2 leads together. But, you know, if you want a nice long line, you can purchase a long line. There's plenty of different options, okay? But you must have a leash, because otherwise your dog might be able to walk off or whatever. Whereas if you've got a leash on, you'll be able to provide guidance, okay, when needed, to kind of guide them into position. You're also going to need a tasty treat of bags. Oh dear, a tasty bag of treats. Okay, because, you know, when teaching a new command, and, you know, a recall command is a very human thing, you know, teaching them a word and teaching them a movement that goes with it, you want to reward it so that they start to be like, oh yeah, I want to offer that behavior because I get a nice tasty treat for it. Okay, so you go on the leash. All right, so we use slip leads just because they're convenient and they're quite useful for various different things. Now please excuse my handling, sometimes I'm a bit clumsy with the leash handling, but I've been practicing, so we're going to start with that. So if your dog does not know it, it is really just a simple exercise of some food in your hand. And firstly, all we're going to start with is just the movement, no word. Okay, and we're going to progress through this quickly, because you can progress through it fairly quickly. I was just doing it with our board and training before. You can get to a certain level within one session. Again, depending on your dog, but most of your dogs will be able to get to it. Okay, so Gus is not going to help because he's so into food. But we're literally going to start. Get a treat in your hand. Pull backwards. Yes. Okay. So we're just trying to get that movement of him coming to your space. Okay. And when he starts to come towards me, I mark it with a yes, and then give him the food. Yes. Okay. All right. So if your dog is starting to, yes, you know, offer that quite quickly. If you have them on a lead and you walk backwards and they quite quickly follow you, you probably can start to add in the word quite quickly. Yes. All right, so we've just got a couple of demos. All right, so now we're here. Yes. Okay. Here. Yes. All right. So you can see Gus is like super keen, so he's not really going that far away. That's fine. It doesn't. Just trying to condition is that coming towards you and them hearing the word, then they come towards you. So here, yes. All right, and then the positive marker, yes. Cool. All right, here, yes. Here, yes. Cool. All right, so we got that first step. Say you were wanting to do the more formal one that we talked to, come, then you're going to do it slightly differently. You're just going to elongate it a little bit. Use retreat, yes. Lure into same movement, except you just use your treat to do a little bit of a lure. Yes. And then release. You must give your release command, alright? So much finished. Yes. Pause and release. Okay? And so the same again with that one. Once you're getting the movement and the behaviours being offered, come. Yes. Release. Alright. Clumsy handling. Come. Yes. Release. Cool. Alright, so obviously it's not a normal situation. Most often when you call your dog, it's because you want them to come off something. So then we can actually start to kind of, your next step, I don't really know the wording for it, but I'm just going to show you. The next step, after you're kind of getting that movement, and if your dog's like super focused like Gus, then you can start throwing food. Here, yes. Alright, so when they're further away. Okay. Here, yes. Alright. Food. Here, yes. Alright, so what you're going to start seeing is that I come in with my positive marker sooner. Alright, I was doing it quite late before because I really wanted to come into my space. But what you'll start seeing over the repetitions and as we up the game, I'll start to give my positive marker as soon as he makes the decision to turn and come towards me, because that is ideal. That's what we want. We want him to understand that turning and coming towards me is what he wants, and if he continues to come, obviously he's going to get the reward. So yeah, yes. All right. Right, so I'm not going to call, he's not going to get the food for that. Right. Here. Yes. Alright, cool. Alright, so it's the same, you would do the same exercise. Double treats. Come. Yes. Release. Alright. Come. Yes. Release. Cool. Alright, that making sense so far?
Yeah.
Have we got any questions?
No questions?
Cool. Awesome. Alright, so that's like your foundation. Alright. And then what you might have seen a little bit before is that there was a little bit of leash pressure on at one point. And so say your dog is here. So I put a little bit of leash pressure on, and hold it there until he turns to come, and then mark it with a yes. So it's just again layering another type of technique over the top of it, so he's learning to give into that pressure, so that when your dog, this is why we use long lines, and if you don't have good recall on your dog, you must have them on a long line every time they're off leash, no excuses, that you can pick up your long line when they're sniffing or distracted by something. You can pick up their long line, give their recall command, and then hold that, and then mark it with a yes, and then they'll come. So let's see if I can set Gus up to do that, so it can show you. Yeah. Yes. Sorta.
Sorta. Do you want me to try and distract him?
Yeah.
Give me some food.
Gussie boy setting him up. Oh, sorry, my tricks
Sorry.
are coming. Gross.
Gussie. Gussie boy.
Gus, here. Yes. Good boy. Right.
Can we try that one more time? Gussie.
Gus, here. Here. Yes. Alright. We don't, with you guys, you probably don't want to get them that high energy, but you want to find a distraction. Well, like it might be just a smell. Like normally that's what it is. I mean, it's harder to demo it because he's just like, oh, you can see so interested in me, which is exactly what you want, but out in real life, if you just stand there so you don't lose internet, should they?
Yep.
You don't have any, off you go. Here. Yes. Alright, so, well, I mean, anyway, your next step would be then, Gus, here. Yes. Recalling when he gets the distraction. You know? So, like, say you're in your driveway and they're having a good sniff at something. Like, oh, actually, I should. This is quite next level for Gus, so we will see. Just hold it.
Yep.
Alright. Here. Yes. Alright, so you can see Gus is motivated. Here. Gus. Here. Yes. Alright, so you're upping your level of distraction. You see? Here. Yes. Good. Alright. But no, want the food now.
Let me wiggle it around a little bit.
Here. You see, even after those couple of ones of leash pressure in the food, here. Gus, here, yes. Alright, so I gave a little bit of a negative marker there. I've done it, Gus knows a recall, like not, no. So I'm just going to put a no there for pulling. I've got bad knees and legs, so I can't pulling on the lead. But did you see there where I said here, and he was so over focused on it that, you know, he saw the air tweak back a little bit. But he was like, nah, it's still not coming. And yes, I could have got more excited, but for me, I don't actually on that. And by me calling him, he's going to get even more aroused. I want him to come off that in a calm state of mind. So I gave my negative marker, which was a growl. And then, when he turned to come, then he got marked with the yes. And then he came. So, just move it again. Here, yes. Good. So it's like just making choices for him. Giving him choices to make, so like he, here, yes. Good boy. Alright. So again, you're going to keep practicing, you're going to keep practicing this. You practice this technique all over the place, in your home. Like if they don't come to you reliably in your house, then that's where you first need to practice, and your dog should not be off leash out in public, okay? Your next step is in your garden. If you can't call your dog off sniffing a piece of grass in your garden, then you are also not ready for out in public, okay? You need to get the behavior good in your own home. You know, up the distraction. As you can see here, we've tried, you know, Gus is like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it, easy peasy. So we've brought out something that he gets highly aroused with, a toy. And so tested him in that environment. So he needs a little bit, as you can see, needs a little bit more practice and with higher distraction. Then, if you're really good around the home, then you might go to like maybe even a quiet car park. You know, with it, you know, if your dog gets overstimulated by people or whatever, you might go to a quiet car park where maybe one person might walk past in the distance. So you're going to practice there, and then you're going to practice this whole technique at a local park that's quiet, and then maybe you'd up a distraction with a kid running past or whatever your dog is overly interested in. If it's dogs, which is often the case and people can't recall their dogs off other dogs, then you're going to go practice that technique with a dog walking 50 metres in the distance if that's its threshold. And you're going to do exactly as we've done here, similar to what we've done with the toy. You know, you can see my energy is nice and calm. You know, I'm not like, yay, woo, 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 yay, woo, woo, because that's just what that personally makes me go a little bit highly strung. But it also, some people don't feel comfortable doing that either, and then that energy comes across awkward, so the dog is also like, oh, why are you being awkward? Here. Yes. So you can practice in that situation. Your dog wanders off. And then you're going to slowly build up the distraction. Okay? Until you're getting a good response from your dog. Then after that, if you're feeling like your dog really is knowing it, but you're noticing it more and more, is actually either not doing it, will do it 100% if you have food, but then, I'm not going to do it if you don't have food, then you're probably moving more toward the stage where you're going to start having to disobedience or whatnot. That makes sense, eh, Chevy? That's the right process, right?
Yeah.
Jump to step. Yeah. And then you'll have to, and it really is as simple though as the demo that quick little demo I gave there. You can rewind the little growl that I gave Gus for not coming, doing the hair command when I asked him to before. And yeah. We'll probably have to do a video on that next stage at a different point, because really most of you would need to actually be at this point. We often find owners just jump too far too soon. I mean, we see owners down the beach with their 4-month-old puppies as soon as they're vaccinated with them off, like without a long line. They should not be doing that, because I'm pretty sure unless you've done an amazing job and put in a whole pile of effort from 8 to 16 weeks when they get vaccinated, and you've somehow managed to expose them to that level of distraction, then maybe. But most young puppies need to be on a long line so that you can teach them from an early age not to go up to every single dog they meet, and you can use your long line and your recall and this technique in every situation, and then build up from there. But yeah, that's where most people's issue come in, really. Once you just teach it solidly, and then they'll be fine. Any questions?
No questions.
Do you think I missed anything, Shuey?
Nope, but I think it'd be good to say that long line is also good because it's a good gauge of how far your dog should be from you. So if your dog's on long line and is wandering around and it won't come, or it's over fixating, then you can stand on the long line. Yep. And if you can't stand or reach the long line, then your dog's too far away from you. Yep,
perfect. That's a great one, actually.
Yep.
Good input.
Yeah.
Gus, yeah? Yes, good boy, good. Alright, so you can see a lot of it is just meandering around. Like, you might just spend some time out and then eventually you could drop the long line, but you've got to make sure that your dog is getting a pretty good understanding of it. You would only drop the long line once you're pretty confident that they know what the word means, and then you're only going to be, you may be picking it up if they don't listen and you need to guide them in. But I'm much, while they're learning and you're practicing in various environments, hold on to it. Your dog should not be dragging you on the long line as well. So remember that's also where you can implement the leash walking techniques we had. As soon as there's pressure on that long line, you can, like I think you would have seen me give that correction to Gus before, because he would just put too much pressure on the long line. I was like, that's not acceptable. Cool. I think that's probably a good demo for today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be going live again on Thursday for our. Am I too close again? I feel like I'm getting closer.
Yeah.
So we are. Sit. Good. Release. So we are going live again Thursday, 4:30 p.m. For our Q&A session. You can ask us anything. So definitely tune in. We're really enjoying doing those, and again, I think it's super helpful. Like, say you were practicing your recall thing and it's not going, you wanted to update us, so you had a few questions, tune in and ask away. We're happy to answer anything. If you're thinking of getting a puppy, tune in, ask us about, when you're looking at picking up what breed, what temperament, what, rescue or to a purebred, tune in, ask us, literally ask us anything. The more information you can get about your dog before you get your dog, when you get dog, whether you've had a dog and something's happened, tune in and ask. Cool. Alrighty guys, you have a great evening and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.